Remember, code is like a vineyard. It needs constant pruning to bear fruit. Yours looks like it could use a chainsaw.
When you hear the title Chief Technology Officer, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Some kind of lone genius typing away furiously in a dark room? Or maybe just the most senior developer who finally got the promotion? Well, let's get into it, because the reality of the modern CTO is way more complex, a lot more strategic, and honestly, way more interesting than those old stereotypes. We're going to break down what this role really is today.
So let's just tackle that big myth right out of the gate. Is the CTO simply the best programmer in the building? The answer, especially as a company gets bigger, is a big, fat no. The skills that make you an amazing senior developer are just not the same skills that make you a successful CTO. The whole role changes from pure hands-on work to something much, much bigger.
Okay, so the first thing you've got to understand is that the title CTO can mean two completely different jobs. It all depends on the company's stage. The challenges, the priorities, the entire day-to-day for a CTO at a tiny 5-person startup, it's a completely different universe from the CTO at a giant established corporation.
And this right here, this is what really boils it all down. In a startup, the CTO is all about one thing: product innovation. Your job is to build something from nothing, find that product market fit, and basically invent the company's tech vision. But for a big, established company, the focus completely shifts to operational excellence. Now it's all about making sure the massive tech machine you already have can scale and that it's absolutely rock solid and stable.
This table just lays it all out perfectly. Just look at hands-on involvement. A startup CTO is probably still deep in the code, building prototypes themselves. But in an established company, nah, it's a management role. You're overseeing huge teams. Or how about risk and agility? Startups live and breathe that stuff. They pivot, they experiment, they move fast. Big companies, they're all about stability and careful long-term plans. It's a completely different mindset.
Okay, so now that we've got that straight, let's dig into the first big pillar of the modern CTO, the role of the strategic architect. This is where you stop thinking about tech as just a bunch of tools and start seeing it as the actual blueprint for hitting the company's biggest goals.
And this right here is the big shift. See, a great builder can follow a plan perfectly, but a master architect, they're the ones who design the plan in the first place. They have to understand the entire landscape, the budget, what the building's even for. For a CTO, that means you have to deeply understand the business and design a tech strategy that actually helps it win.
So how does an architect actually build this blueprint? With a tech roadmap. It all starts with making sure your tech goals line up with the business goals. Then, you got to take a hard look at what you've already got, your current systems, to see where the problems and opportunities are. And finally, you turn all that thinking into a real, actionable plan with deadlines and ways to measure success. The whole point is this: every single tech decision has to have a business why behind it. You don't switch to a new cloud provider just because it's the hot new thing. You do it because it's going to boost your system's reliability by 30%, which directly helps you achieve a key business goal. See the difference?
All right, on to pillar number 2. Being a brilliant architect is great, but if your foundation is made of sand, the whole thing's going to collapse. The CTO is also the resilient operator. This is the non-negotiable part of the job, keeping everything running smoothly, securely, and without any drama.
And yeah, cybersecurity is a massive piece of this puzzle. But it's not just some technical checklist. The CTO's real job is to build a strong security mindset from the top all the way down. See that last point? Fostering a culture? That's the secret sauce. It's about making security everybody's responsibility, from the sales team to the engineers.
And you want to know what a solid plan looks like in the real world? Check this out. This number comes from one of our sources. A company got hit by a huge attack. Their website was completely down. But because they had a response plan that they had actually practiced, they were back up and running in less than 3 minutes. That is what resilience looks like in action.
So at the end of the day, this is the bedrock of the CTO's job as an operator. Building new features is the fun, flashy part, sure, but none of that matters if it's not built on a foundation of trust and stability. You have to make sure the stuff you've already built is as close to unbreakable as you can get.
And that brings us to the third, and honestly, the most overlooked pillar of being a CTO. You don't just manage technology, you lead people. You are the culture cultivator. You're responsible for creating an environment where tech teams can actually do their best work, innovate, and grow. To really get this, we need to talk about something called a growth mindset. It's a concept from psychologist Carol Dweck, and it's basically the belief that your abilities aren't set in stone. You can get smarter, you can get better through hard work and learning from feedback. In the world of tech, where things change every 5 minutes, this mindset isn't just a nice to have, it's everything.
Just look at the difference here. A team with a fixed mindset, they're going to avoid tough challenges because they're scared that failing will make them look bad. But a team with a growth mindset, they eat challenges for breakfast. They see them as a chance to learn something new. Failure isn't the end of the world, it's just data that helps them find a breakthrough. Now, which one of those teams do you think is going to build the next big thing?
And the CTO is the one who sets that tone. When a big project fails or a nasty bug takes the whole system down, how the CTO reacts is absolutely critical. If they start pointing fingers, they create a culture of fear, a fixed mindset. But if they frame it as, okay, what did we learn here? They build a resilient, growth-oriented culture. They turn a dead end into a detour.
Okay, so we've covered the architect, the operator, and the cultivator. The big question is, how do you actually become one? Well, as it turns out, there's no simple step-by-step guide. It's kind of like an unwritten roadmap.
You know what? This comment from a Reddit thread just says it all. The jump to a CTO role, especially when a company is growing fast, is a move away from being hands-on with the tech. The job becomes about managing huge budgets, hiring dozens of people, getting different departments to work together, basically running a big organization. At that level, your ability to lead people and think strategically is way, way more important than your ability to write code.
And that leaves us with one big final thought. The CTO role has already changed from being the best coder to being a strategic business leader, but it's not going to stop there. As things like AI and automation get better and better and start handling more of the day-to-day work, what does the CTO of the future even look like? What new skills will define the next version of this incredibly important role? That's the question that leaders everywhere are trying to figure out right now.